to get through everything today, but welcome to My Lady's Choosing. This is a book by Kitty Curran and Larissa Sageris. It is one of those interactive story novels where you make different choices on here. So I am going to be reading all the parts in this book as we try to find my own Mr. Bridgerton in honor of season 3 of Bridgerton coming out next week on the 16th. I think that's like next Thursday, so a little over a week from today. So I am going to attempt to read all of these parts for all of you beautiful people and have some fun. If some people join and want to vote in on what I shall choose, we will do that. If not, I will make choices and we will see where we go. So let's get on started then. So as you note here, there is a little note here that says, "Halt! The course of true love never did run straight, and neither does this book. Do not submit yourself to woe and confusion by turning the pages in numerical order, skimming to a different section, or letting your eye linger too long on the next entry next to your intended destination could have the same result as committing a similar act of impropriety while at a ball. Scandal, heartbreak, and utter ruin. In other words, no cheating. Instead, begin your romantic journey on page 1 and follow the instructions at the bottom of each page. These choices will guide you from the sweeping highlands of rugged Scotland to the mysterious moors of the foggy Yorkshire to the exotic plains of sand-swept Egypt. Every decision has the potential to bring you everlasting happiness or deepest despair, so select with care. Choose wisely, and you could end up the talk of the ton, wrapped in the embrace of an exciting, eternally faithful, extremely becoming mate of superior charm and devotion. Choose poorly, and you may end up destitute and begging for scraps in the slimiest slums of London. Truly, in the matters of love, anything is possible. Now, on with you. Your romantic fate awaits." I'm trying to make sure here that my gain's not too loud. I hope it's not for all of you lovely people. Okay, so kind of starting off here, we're going to establish our characters, and I am going to attempt to give everybody a different voice in this reading to make it a little more engaging. So I am also going to be doing some fake British accents, so I want to apologize in advance. I am just doing this for fun, and I am so sorry to everybody out there, but I just feel wrong doing these in American accents because this is supposed to be a Regency romance novel taking place in Regency era London. So let's introduce ourselves here, shall we? So you are you, the plucky, penniless Regency-era London version, a lass of 28 who can cover a screen just as well as she can jam out sonatas on the pianoforte. You are under the gun to find love with a suitably wealthy, good-hearted, or oh my gosh, it's basically libidinous match? Who uses this word? Else find yourself an eternal spinster. Our next character is going to be Lady Evelyn Youngblood. Is a free-spirited woman with a past, and your very only friend. She is a lover of intrigue, battle, and experiment. Scandal attends her every move. She gives the rakes of the less fair sex a run for their money in the roguish behavior department. When she isn't sending her aunt Lady Aurelia Craven to despondence with tales of her blue-stocking bawdiness, she promises to save you from spinsterhood one way or another, if you insist. She has wanted to get back to England for quite some time, I said England, back to Egypt for quite some time, and could use a traveling companion. And then, of course, we have our gentlemen callers. Our first is Sir Benedict Granville. He's a well-off relation of Lady Craven. He is pretty witty and earns 10,000 a year. Banter is this baronet's weapon of choice in the war waged between London's marriage-hungry society, mammas and eligible young bachelors. Too clever by half for most of the half-wits he interacts with. Sir Granville meets his match only when you deign to engage him in battle of wits and base desires. And then to everybody out there, I am so sorry. I will do my best with a Scottish accent, but it ends up just being like a mix of Scottish and Irish and not very good variations of either of those. So I'm so sorry. So we have Captain Angus MacTaggart is a rugged Scotsman with a chip on his shoulder and a heart of gold. Not a man for society's frivolities, he spends his days caring for the orphans and widows of recent wars. Although a finely muscled ginger with a passion fiery as his hair, Mac is more concerned with doing good works than doing others. Still, his honourable soldier's body courses with the awesome power of the Highland moors from which he hails, and the love of an honest woman could give both Mac and that lass the ride of their lives. Again, very sorry. I'm not even going to try. I tried for a while, and then I just gave up because trying to do Angus MacTaggart, I don't know. And then our last guy, who's looking like a vampire, is Lord Caraway Craven. Is so mad and bad that word round the tongue is even Lord Byron finds knowing him to be dangerous, prone to rages and prolonged, unexplained absences, and no shortage of shirts worn open to reveal his rippling muscles. Lady Craven's son is master of hopes and manner. Could he also be master of your heart? Brutish and brooding, Lord Craven is a wild beast who cannot be tamed. But perhaps so are you. And that are our main characters in this story. So let's go ahead and hop on in, shall we? Move that leg, girl, the Dowager Craven hisses as she prods you with her cane. The two of you are sitting in the back of her rather shabby carriage on the way to your first social event since you started working as her lady's companion more than a year ago. Sadly, this behavior is far from extraordinary, so you merely sigh and squeeze yourself into a tinier part of the seat. At this point, one more prod and you would be making love to the carriage door. Such a miserable occasion. I can't think why Eveline is making us attend, Lady Craven mutters. Well, it is for the widows and orphans of the war, you venture to say politely, before being cut off with a glare that could strip paint. Did I sound like I wanted your opinion? You know what's good for you, and stop talking immediately. Lady Craven continues on her tirade. Truly, you are just as wool-headed as your grandfather was. Odious man! I have no idea what your grandmother was thinking when she married him, and with no fortune to recommend him either. I dare say your late father was just the same, seeing as he didn't see fit to provide for you after his death. Spending most of your time with Lady Craven has made you a master of biting your tongue, yet her cruel words about your beloved papa cut you to the core. Still, you depend upon the old dragon for your entire livelihood, so you just have no choice but to grit your teeth and clench your fist into the worn fabric of your dress. An old cast-off from Lady Craven, the frock is at least 20 years out of date, and you highly suspect that she chose it for you because the mustard yellow color clashes horribly with your complexion. If it wasn't for that affection I still hold for your late mother, I should have cast you out on the street. And what would you have done then, eh? You brood silently, yet demurely. Probably try to find yourself a protector, no doubt. she continues, just as you have shamelessly set your cap at Sir Charles Burleigh Fanshawe, though I doubt anyone would want to have anything to do with such a silly little chit. Your fists grip even tighter around the fabric of your skirts. The repellent Sir Charles is old enough to be your grandpapa, and has indeed been sniffing around your person, looking no doubt for a pretty compliant and much younger bride. Still, would life in a loveless marriage be any worse than the one you live now? The carriage arrives at your destination. You are shaken from your gloomy thoughts, if only for a moment. Perhaps tonight will be the night when everything changes. And now, my dear readers, we are on our first choice, which really there is only one. So our first choice is, do you accompany your tyrannical employer to the fundraising ball for the Society for the Protection of Widows and Orphans of the War? The company may be atrocious, but the balls are fun. If so, turn to this page. Or do you run away from Lady Craven only to find yourself with no other means of survival than to sell your body into the cold, cruel night? If so, do not go to any other place in this book, for you will be utterly doomed and dead from syphilis within a year. Sorry, this may be a choosable path adventure, but as a penniless young unmarried woman at the start of the 19th century, your options are somewhat limited. They will get better though. Turn to this page. I say, let us go to a ball. What is a Regency romance without one? Let's take a sip of our coffee, shall we? Lady Craven hobbles up the steps of the exquisite London manse belonging to Lady Evelyn Youngblood, her niece. An extremely rich widow, Lady Evelyn is a patroness of the Society for the Protection of Widows and Orphans of the War, a position that does a great deal to quell the unkind whispers about her scandalous behavior. You've met Lady Evelyn only a few times and were intimidated by her beauty and elegance. Still, you cannot help but like her, for she is warm, witty, and one of the few people who can get Lady Craven to behave herself, as the old witch relies on her for the occasional handout. It is for this reason that you are relieved when she swoops in almost immediately, settles Lady Craven upon a chair, and leads you by the arm around the ballroom. I must say, I'm impressed, whispers Lady Evelyn, her sapphire eyes flashing with humor and sympathy as you make your escape. For you have lasted far longer than any of Aunt Aurelia's other companions. You must have nerves of steel, my dear. You start to protest, but Lady Evelyn shushes you with a hint of a smile, playing with her lush pink mouth. Don't worry, there is no need to be polite. Not one member of this God-forsaken family is unaware of my aunt's singular nature. Why, even her son barely speaks to her. And he is certainly someone who does not intimidate easily. Have you met him? Lord Garraway Craven? Oh, no. You can feel the heat rising in your face. But I have heard rumors. He was an associate of Lord Byron, was he not? Lady Evelyn sniffs her delicate nose and tosses her elegant head. Her artfully arranged curls glimmer golden in the light of hundreds of candles that decorate the ballroom. Ah, yes, Garraway certainly was for a time, but that was before he managed to scare off Byron with his antics. Lady Evelyn smiles so dazzlingly. You feel you must have imagined the haunted expression that briefly crossed her face. All the same, you dare not inquire further. Instead, you listen politely as she steers the subject away from her mysterious cousin. Still, I suppose it's all for the best. In most families, I would be the black sheep, but compared to the cabal of sinners I'm related to, I look positively respectable. She winks conspiratorially. Well, perhaps Benedict does too, though he has his rakish moments. As you walk with her, you become increasingly aware of several pairs of hungry eyes turned in your direction. You can't say you blame them, for Lady Evelyn is looking even more exquisite than usual this evening, with her blue silk dress the exact shade as her eyes, cut daringly low and clinging to every curve. You look down at your shabby gown and feel even plainer and dowdier by comparison. The only fine thing you own is a simple gold bracelet, a gift from your mother before she died. Lady Evelyn seems oblivious to the commotion she is causing among the menfolk of the tongue. She turns her piercing gaze to you. My dear, I have a confession to make. You see, I insisted that Aunt Craven bring you to this ball for a reason. Lady Evelyn stops suddenly as you feel someone bump into you and drench your dress. You look down and see a red river of wine spilling across your ugly yellow frock. Oh, dash it! I'm so terribly sorry, says a short and nervous-looking young man. I hope it isn't ruined. He looks so frightened and is so bumbling that you take pity on him. Oh, I assure you that this dress, that would be quite impossible, you tell him kindly. Nigel Frickley, you clever dear. Oh. Nigel Frickley, you clever dear, exclaims Lady Evelyn. I was looking for an excuse to disrobe this lovely young lady. Nigel blesses. Nigel blushes even more crimson than the wine now staining her dress. He stammers before Lady Evelyn cuts him off. You see, the rags my Aunt Craven has passed off on this poor young thing are simply hideous, and I ought to be replaced at once. Truly, you have performed a public service. And with that, she leads you out the ballroom. You really have no choice but to accompany her, ruined dress aside. Lady Evelyn is not the sort of woman to whom one says no. Once you arrive in her chamber, she hands you something blue, green, and silky. I think you will look ravishing in this, she promises before helping you out of your gown. She pulls you into the expensive-looking garment and helps you with the many buttons on the back as she continues her conversation. Forgive me for being forward, but I do feel that you are unhappy in your current position. You say nothing but turn your head toward her and nod in silent misery. She meets your gaze and continues with genuine sympathy filling her cultured tones. So I must know, have you made any inquiries for other means of employment or received any offers? I have heard that Lord Craven was looking for a governess for his young son, you venture shyly, thinking of the envelope he had recently sent the dragon, asking if she knew any prospective governess she could soon send him in Ravenscar. You immediately regret broaching the matter when you see the horror in Lady Evelyn's expression. Oh, heavens, no! I would sooner throw an infant to the wolves than send an innocent young woman to work for Cousin Garraway. Lady Evelyn shudders ever so slightly. Well, let us hope we need not become so desperate that you have to resort to that. Anything else? Sir Charles Burley Fanshawe has been coming to call, and I think perhaps he may. Oh, my dear, he is ancient, and I fancy you could do much better than him. I'm afraid not, my lady, you say quietly. You see, I have been left without a dowry, nor any means of supporting myself after my dear papa was lost at sea, and Lady Evelyn finishes buttoning her dress and spins you to face the mirror. That may well be, but on the other hand, just look. You look, the dress cut demurely enough for a young unmarried lady such as yourself, yet somehow suggestive in the way it clings to your body, has utterly transformed you. You see, my dear, I believe you can do much better than than purgatory with Aunt Aurelia, or shackling yourself to an odious old toad. And it is high time we did something about that. She leads you back downstairs and explains further. I shall make inquiries on your behalf for a suitable position. I'm sure there will be other offers for a charming young lady such as yourself. In the meantime, I suggest you have some fun with a few eligible gentlemen. Lady Evelyn raises an eyebrow suggestively. You only just manage to stifle the unladylike giggle that bubbles up, and she beams at you. That's the spirit. Now, whom would you like to meet first, my cousin Sir Benedict Granville? She points towards a tall, dark figure leaning casually against a pillar. Poor Benny. He finds balls ever so tiresome. You see, half the mammas of town are desperately trying to get him to marry their daughters because of his fortune, but he makes the daughters so nervous with his brooding manner and good looks that they clam up entirely around him. What he really needs is someone to challenge him, I fancy. I wonder if you could liven up this sorry event for him. Your eyes then turn to a broad-shouldered form on the edge of the dance floor. The man hair is the rustic of color of autumn leaves at sunset. Lady Evelyn grins. Ah, you've spotted our handsome Scotsman, Captain Angus MacTaggart. He was frightfully brave at Waterloo, but he now works for the Society of Protection of Widows and Orphans of the War. He is a wonder at raising money. No one can say no to a war hero, especially with a face like that. But he's an even greater wonder at caring for orphans. Shall I make an introduction? You gaze at these two attractive and potentially interesting men and try to decide whom to meet first. If you pick the handsome and nobly sardonic cousin of Lady Evelyn, turn to this page. If you pick the dashing and caring Scot, turn to this page. Now, is it cheating to go with the cousin Benny because I am dreadfully scared of reading the Scotsman's? I think I'm going to go with Benny because Benny is giving more Bridgerton vibes at the moment. And that's what we're going for, right? We're going for the third young Bridgerton in the series. So that sounds a little more like Benny than it does like our daring Scotsman Mac. So Cousin Benedict, may I introduce my young protege? Trills Lady Evelyn. My dear cousin, this is my cousin Sir Benedict Granville. You dip your head and curtsy politely. The dark-haired figure returns a curt bow. It is a dance of politeness you've been accustomed to engaging in since childhood, and one you've performed 1,000 times before. You really should not stumble, but when you look up and find yourself staring into the most intense, silver-gray eyes you have ever seen, framed by heavy, dark brows, a strong nose, a face made entirely of dramatic angles, you find yourself doing just that. Sir Benedict raises one one aristocratic brow. His black evening coat molds into his body like a second skin and does little to conceal the powerful form underneath. You detest him immediately. Oh, I do. Why? Lady Evelyn has spoken to you before of her fine cousin by the way of warning. He is apparently frosty to the idea of marriage and the prospect of settling down in general, though she hasn't explained why. No doubt he views women as out of his gold and no doubt he views women as out for his gold and their own glory. Indeed, Lady Evelyn has recounted wearily the brusque manner that man takes in rejecting the many fine ladies who pursue him for his fortune, title, wit, and good looks. Still, as painful as it is to admit, you can hardly blame either Sir Benedict or his admirers for their stance. A man who can look as good and superior, as he does swirling a champagne glass in a dimly lit corner of a ballroom, deserves as much attention and defense as he can muster. Are you schooling her in the arts of heathen women, Vange? Sir Benedict Granville punctured her observational revelry with a weary glare towards his cousin and you. He flicks his gaze over your form with cool, practiced disinterest. You notice, however, that his eyes linger a moment too long on your own before he settles himself into a posture even more devil-may-care than his first. Lady Evelyn claps her hands. Correct, my dear cousin, she says. Now, why don't you be a dear? Take this lovely young lady for your next quadrille. Neither you nor Sir Benedict can refuse the request without seeming rude. You turn to your new dance partner, he sighs, and takes your hand. You are my aunt's companion, are you not? He asks as he leads you to the dance floor. I am, sir, you admit. The dance begins. And Craven has been telling me how her companion has been setting her sights shamelessly on one Sir Charles Burleigh Fanshawe. He says as the dance steps take him back to you. Rather old for you, isn't he? Or do you care not so long as his purse is full? Every suspicion you held about Sir Benedict has been confirmed. Insufferable man! Lady Evelyn said the only thing sharper than the lines of his suit is his tongue. Still, it didn't prepare you for the sting or the sweetness of a return folly. Sir Benedict, you are too kind to pay such interest in a life of a simple girl such as myself, you retort, a smile fixed upon your face, but I assure you that the only thing I am looking for, should I marry, is a man who displays wit, good sense, and kindness. The dance causes you to separate, and you must wait a few seconds to deliver your final verbal blow. Alas, there has not been one man fitting that description who I have met this entire evening. You feel dismayed at the shiver that passes through you as he again takes your hand. Still you keep your tone dulcet. You wouldn't know of any, would you? This time it's your turn to arch and brow. You let your gaze match Sir Granville's for a moment, just shy of total delicious impudence. Though his facial features remain arranged in a most pleasing play at composure, his silvery eyes dance like the sea, full to the brim with chop. The dance is finished. You smile winningly, turn on your heel, and head back to Lady Evelyn. Okay, so now we can still go meet Mac. Oh, so we get to meet both of them. All right, I didn't get out of this. So let's do that. Let's go meet Mac. Then, shall we? Returning to the page. Ugh, I already feel like my jaw is hurting. Just then, a woman ran past you in tears. Certainly a Lady Fleegerman's presence at a ball is understandable, if a bit unusual. However, the lady fleeing this certain man at this certain moment is close to you in years, but prettier, alas. Dressed in finer clothes than you, double alas, and you suspect that her tears have more to do with the handsome ginger man in military uniform she has just run away from than any war, recent or otherwise. Oh boy. Now, lassie. I'm so sorry. Now, lassie. The handsome ginger man, who is none other than Captain Angus MacTaggart, to whom Lady Evelyn offered to introduce you to but a moment earlier, calls after the woman while shaking his head in frustration. I didn't come here to engage in. Well, never mind. I came here for charity. Mac is muscled and broad-shouldered, unlike the sleek nobles of the ton that surround him. His is a body that seems vigorous, that's seen vigorous activity, and you shudder with longing to know what kind. With eyes the green-brown colour of a Highland glen below a Highland moor, and a strangely sad square jaw, set with a sensitive poetic mouth, he is a vision of Scottish virility. You can scarcely tear your eyes from his noble's visage before Lady Evelyn kicks you sharply in the shin. Captain MacTaggart, I long to make your introduction to my dear friend. Lady Evelyn gestures to you, but Mac dismisses her not unkindly. I'm not into one for formalities, lassie, that you know. Oh my, I am so sorry. Just in advance. His brogue tumbles out like stout into a pint glass. And I'm all might sorry for causing a scene at the ball. I just want to raise money for the other lassies and kiddies who are without their men as such, due to this awful war. Mother Mary, forgive me, I do forget myself and can be a bit rough in my talking. I try to remember I am but speaking to the softer sex, not men out afield. The widows just seem to look for a stronger shoulder to cry into, and while Lady Evelyn, begging your pardon, I feel they get, confused. While Mac has been broguing about, he has cast what can only be described as pointedly interested looks in your direction, several to be precise, when of course he wasn't rubbing his manly temples with his manly hands and wringing those manly hands of their nervous, manly energy. Something about his tender, helpful nature, buried in all that muscle and uniform, speaks to a place deep inside you. You slip the gold bracelet off your wrist and hand it to Mac. It isn't much, you say, by way of introduction, but it was my mother's, more valuable than to you. It is solid gold, and perhaps can fetch a sum for your noble cause. Lady Evelyn is struck temporarily dumb by your quiet act of kindness, and just as well. It gives you an opportunity to feel the heat of Mac's rough hands around your own, both of you holding each other and the bracelet, the way one holds a promise that one intends to keep forever. Your eyes catch Mac's for a moment, and you see they are shining with barely contained tears. Thank you, lassie, he manages to whisper. He squeezes your hand in such a way that suggests he would like nothing more than to pull you closer, and that he is moved by your goodness and pluck. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, so we keep going. If you haven't met, we have met dear old Benny, so let's go to this page. Oh. Today, please. There we go. What the devil is this girl doing? A shaky voice grates out behind you. Flinging costume jewelry about and disgracing my name after I show her nothing but kindness. The voice belongs to none other than Lady Craven, and from the insulburious quality of its tone, it is clear she has quite more than her fill of Madeira. Oh, my dear, you must take my... Oh, different lady. Oh, my dear, you must take my wretched aunt home before she further disgraces herself, Lady Evelyn says. She tuts at the dragon, dejected at what could be your last turn around the ton ending so soon. You slump your shoulders and set your jaw. Your gloom appearance prompts Lady Evelyn to gales of laughter. Oh, heavens, she cries. You act as if you have been banished from society. If only one could be so lucky. Oh. You adore the sound of your friend's laughter, but not so much when it is squarely at your expense. Have I missed something, my dear friend? Oh, have I missed something, my dear friend? You ask as Lady Evelyn recovers from her riot. Of course you have, you chit, she says with a laugh. I have secured you an invitation to Benny's, Sir Benedict's country house party coming up. There's always great fun, and this way you can entertain yourself with the very notion of eligible bachelors such as my cousin. You laugh sharply in response. This prompts Lady Evelyn to a fiercely stifled fit of giggles. A handsome noble ginger arrives to interrupt the laughter. Oh, Mac, you cry, Wrong guy. My lady. He nods a quick greeting to you both and Lady Evelyn, but his manner is all business, yet his soulful eyes burn into yours as he speaks. If were sincere about helping, lass, I may have a job for you in teaching the kiddies at the Home of Orphans of the War. It is in London, so if you are ever there and wish to inquire, so I receive ye. Arg. With a quick nod, he's off probably to do good in the night. Lady Evelyn raises a gorgeous quizzical eyebrow. The opportunity to mingle with the upper crusty of society's upper crust is supremely tempting. Indeed, with your humble background, you'd be a fool to turn down such a rare invitation to improve your standing in the company of your betters. And the presence of Sir Benedict, well, that certainly doesn't lessen your intrigue, yet you cannot help but be intrigued by the Scotsman's offer. You always had a tender heart for children, and something about his rugged altruism sparks a dangerous recklessness in your chest. What will be next? Okay, so take a sip of water. We're going to have to take a break in a second. I feel like my voice is going to just give out. So, if we wish to rub elbows with the tongue, and Sir Benedict's elbows in particular, we're going to hustle your bustle to this page. Or if you think doing good for the poor kiddies is infinitely better than pretending you can hang with the elites of London, and you cannot help your curiosity about what Max got under his kilt, hop on over to this page. Again, I feel like we're going for Bridgerton vibes. So as cute as Mac the Scotsman seems, precious and all, I feel like we have to rub elbows with a ton. So we're going to go to this page. Nothing has prepared you for the spectacular yet elegant beauty of men. Can we just pause for a second? Yes, let's highlight that right there. Manberly. The ancient set of the Granvilles' home of Sir Benedict. Crossing the tastefully furnished receiving room filled to the brim with the cream of the tun, you remind yourself that you are the long-time companion of Sir Benedict's aunt, and have been personally invited to this house party by his cousin Lady Evelyn. Truly you have just as much right to be here as all these fine ladies and gentlemen, even if their handkerchiefs probably cost more than you make in a year. You raise your chin defiantly and search for a friendly face. Unfortunately, Lady Evelyn is nowhere to be found. Even more unfortunately, you see the toad-like form of Sir Charles Burleigh Fanshawe swiftly approaching, his face florid with excitement and gin. Desperate to escape, you turn sharply left and find yourself running headlong into a body that is at once familiar and disturbing. You force yourself to look up into the searing gaze of him, the man you detest and desire in equal measure. Sir Benedict, you say through gritted teeth, what a pleasure. The pleasure is all mine. He kisses your hand, his eyes narrow with suspicion, and you curse your traitorous body for shivering at his touch. It was so kind of you to invite the Dowager Lady Craven and myself to this gathering, you continue in a honey tone laced with arsenic. Lady Evelyn would have had my head had I not. Of course. I forgot how easily intimidated you are. I am so very sorry. You bite back. Your kindness is quite extraordinary. Benedict nods towards Sir Charles Burleigh Fanshawe, who is currently hovering in your vicinity, especially when directed towards those who are able to give you something. Oh, Sir Benedict, you trill, your meticulous morality, even in the face of such hardships as Baronetcy, a fine estate and fortune, does you credit. Sir Benedict leans closer and whispers in your ear a scent that is a mixture of leather, sunlight, and all men envelops you. By the way, he whispers, what is it exactly that you have done with my aunt? Your faces are so close that it would take moving but an inch for you to kiss his cruel barb-slinging mouth. Across the room, a glass smashes. Sudden silence descends upon the crowd. There, at the entryway, stands a man so beautiful he looks like an angel of Botticelli's, an angel very much of the fallen variety. Behind him, a mousy young woman holds a handkerchief to her mouth, fighting back tears. Who is that? You whisper, but Sir Benedict is frozen as the classical statues lining the walls of the room you are standing in. His patrician face drained of all color. Oh, look, we're 42% of the way through. Cad, he hisses. What the devil do you think you're doing here? The fallen angel pointedly ignores him, for I feel like I got deep enough already. The fallen angel pointedly ignores him. For those of you who are not aware, my name is Ruff Caddington, he says, or should I say Ruff Granville. The room heaves a united gasp. You see, until recently, my sister Henrietta and I believed ourselves to be mere by-blows of an affair the late baronet had with our notorious mother, the famed douanier of the stage, Miss Caddington. How wrong we all were. He tosses Benedict another look, at once triumphant and venomous. Another thrum of whispers travels throughout the room. What do you mean by that? Benedict's silver-gray eyes are ice-cold as he stares at the intruder. Well, brother of mine, all that has changed. You see, I have discovered a most interesting document. Cat thrust a worn yet official-looking sheet of paper into the air. What I have here is the secret marriage certificate of our late father, the baronet, and Henrietta's and my mother. You will see that it is dated 2 years before the nuptials of the baronet with Sir Benedict's own high and mighty mother, and 6 months before my birth. I believe anyone passably acquainted with mathematics has already worked out what that means. Cat stalks toward Sir Benedict with a hyena, like a hyena circling a lion. It means that Henrietta and I are the legitimate offspring of Sir Piers Granville. It means that I am the true baronet in order of this fine estate and all its attendant privileges. What is more, seeing as my mother was alive and well until just 8 years ago, it means the marriage between Benedict's mother and father was very much illegal. Cad steps towards Benedict until their noses almost touch. And that makes dear old Benny. Oh, there's a picture. Cad pauses a moment, a golden version of his dark, glowering brother. The profiles almost perfectly matched. Nothing but a bastard. The room explodes with chatter. Several ladies faint dead away. Cat stands triumphantly, fielding questions from hangers-on who now surround him, while behind him poor Henrietta sobs quietly. Unusual behavior for a young woman who has just discovered she is a legitimate member of the aristocracy. You are at once suspicious, but immediately distracted by the sight of an ashen-faced Sir Benedict. Now being fully ignored by his former guest, your heart aches for him despite yourself. I am very sorry, you say gently. Did you have any idea prior to this? Benedict turns to you, his eyes blazing beneath his cold exterior. You would do very well to leave this alone." "What?" Such a brusque dismissal, shocking even for him. He stares at you piercingly, and you feel both your hackles rise in anger and your traitorous bosom heave with longing. "Stay out of it," he growls. "That is not a request." The very nerve of the man thinking he could boss you around so gruffly. If you wish to give him a piece of your mind, turn to this page. Or do you storm off in furious silence? The fool will only get in the way, and there's clearly a mystery to solve. If so, turn to this page. Ooh, I don't know. Do we get in a bit of a little tete-a-tete with Benny, or do we storm off in furious silence and try to solve this mystery? I kind of want to storm off. I think I'm going to storm off. If you have any thoughts, let me know in the chat. But I think I want to storm off and try to solve this mystery. So I'm going to do that. So let us continue, shall we? You raise an eyebrow haughtily and bore your gaze right back at him. You are damned if you will let yourself be intimidated. "Of course, Sir Benedict," you trill as sweetly as you can manage. "I shall do as you wish. Don't mind me. I am now off to do something demure. Needlework, perhaps?" You smooth your skirts daintily and trip off to find someone to interrogate. To your misfortune, almost immediately you are waylaid by Nigel Frickley. "Oh, it's marvelous to see you looking so well," he exclaims. "Thank you, Mr. Frickley, but I have to—" Nigel summarily cuts you off with a stream of boundless enthusiasm. "I say, would you care to take a turn around the room with me?" He yelps an overexcited puppy as always, and you cannot bear to reject him. "Of course, Mr. Frickley," you say politely. "A turn about the room would be most—" "Mind if I cut in?" Splutters Nigel, as none other than Cad grabs your arm and leads you away. "Mr. Caddington," you say pointedly, trying to fight the sinking feeling that the raft of your well-being is about to be upended on the stormy seas of Cad's whims. His eyes devour every inch of you. "That's Sir Ralph Granville now, sweeting," he says, backing you into a corner with that fallen angel's body. "Excuse you, sir." He leans in to whisper to your ear. "You would do well to remember that." Is it me, or is this voice sounding like Mufasa in the sky? I don't know. Just a thought. You realize with a shock that you have aroused his body. My goodness, sir! Now, if only you could get him to let something slip without arousing his suspicion as well. Oh, now that this blackguard has you cornered, it's the perfect opportunity to coax more information out of him. So we go straight to it, y'all. Let's see what we can find. "I see that you have something of a rapport with my bastard half-brother." Cad smirks. "It must be very disappointing to go from having hooked a noble to having designs upon a have-not in the space of just one evening." "I have no hooks and no designs upon your brother," you say defiantly. "Is that so?" murmurs Cad. To your disappointment, your body is roaring at the sinnewing length of him pressed against you. I did not realize this was going to get so steamy so quickly. Okay. Does dear Benny know that? You look up to find Benedict staring daggers at you. You stare daggers right back and turn again to Cad. "What he thinks is of no matter to me," you say as primly as you can manage, "for I'm more interested in what is about with you. It must have been very gratifying to find yourself the heir to a fortune so suddenly. How did you discover the truth? Was it known to you for long, or have you just found out something yourself?" What's the matter? He whispers, clearly suspicious. Oh, nothing, you say codishly. I'm just interested in what you have to say. Cad moves even closer. You realize too late that you might be in over your head. Well, what I say is that I mean to have you, he hisses. He grabs your wrist and leans in closer. Still, I would never marry you. You struggle to escape his grasp. Oh, don't mistake me, sweeting, he jeers. I want your honor, not your hand. I have no wish to marry. Bother dear brother Benny for all of that, if you have it in you to pine for a stuffed shirt popper. He raises the hand not holding your wrist in a vice-like grip and strokes your face. You recoil at his touch, but Cad continues undeterred. Well, sir, what is happening here? Still, a sweet little chit like you could do worse than be the kept woman of a man like me, rich, well-stationed, legitimate, so hungry and so satisfying in all ways that matter. Out of the corner of your eye, you see a familiar dark figure stalking purposely towards you. Benedict's silver gray eyes blaze with a mix of outrage and what looks oddly like concern. Cad. Benedict's voice is a low warning. Not now, Benny, Cad sneers. This lovely young lady and I are having a ah! Suddenly, Cad is doubled over in pain, for you have taken the opportunity of his distraction to inflict deadly damage to his iron hand manhood with your knee. Oops! Benedict stares open-mouthed at you as you gather your skirts with exaggerated modesty and step around his fallen half-brother. You cannot resist turning and raising an eyebrow to that handsome face, the one that causes your foolish loins to ache. Shocked, Sir Benedict, you say so as confidently as possible. No, I'm impressed. You are startled out of your triumph. This will not do at all. Benedict seems to agree, for his expression turns uncharacteristically shaken. Never mind that, nor the fact that you would very much like to brush the dark locks off of that beautiful, dumbfounded face. You have work to do. Squaring your shoulders, you stalk primly out of the room and hear the sound of a young girl sobbing down the corridor. Oh, it looks like we might be able to get some intrigue here. So we have no choice. We have to go see who is crying in the corner. You follow the low, keening sound to the orangery. There, whimpering like a much-abused kitten, you find Henrietta. Miss Caddington, you say, but then quickly correct yourself. I mean Granville, forgive me. The sound of her name throws Henrietta into a flood of fresh sobs. Sitting down beside her, you place a sisterly arm around her shoulders. If what Cat says is true, she is a lady now, and occupies a station above your own. Still, you cannot help but feel a sense of responsibility toward her, be it in her youth, her general air of bruised innocence, or the fact that she is in the danger of flooding the orangery with her tears. You can't help considering her a delicate and neglected flower. Such a creature needs gentle and skilled encouragement and care, but in this moment there is only you. Henrietta, you say calmly, your fate has just taken a wild turn for the better. Yet you weep, as one does for the dead. Forgive me my impudence, but these tears do not look to be shed in joy. Narg? Was she Australian? Sorry. Narg. Henrietta shakes her head, gurgling most unbecomingly. I'm so very happy, miss. Honestly, truly, I'm so very glad. Her voice breaks and her shoulders wilt even further. Tell me what is wrong, child. I matter not a whit to your family, and you may consider me an ally as a woman. I am no stranger to sadness myself. Your voice positively sparkles with authority and sweet innocence that she is. Henrietta cannot resist you. It's just that I don't want to be a lady. She is again racked with sobs. Ladies can't marry farmers, and all I want is my farmer, my sweet, kind, and gentle love from Kent, my lovely true farmer Sam. You suppress a sigh and search the recesses of your memory for some trace of connection between Henrietta and Kent. Evelyn said the girl was sent away from a time to be fostered, and it was perhaps in Kent that Henrietta learned of love as pure and true thing, unfettered by society's gatherings and the lashing tongue of the tongue. An illegitimate daughter may well find happiness with a farmer, but a lady, an heir to Manberley, again, can we? It's my favorite. Out of the question. Still, this whole business makes you highly suspect, especially because it is just not the fate of the man you detest that hinges on the most recent revelations. Tell me, Henrietta, you say brightly, your voice shining like sunlight on the poor girl's soul. Are you quite sure that your brother Cad claims are true? He presses his evidence with more flash than forethought. I just wonder if perhaps this proof is a mistake on Cad's part, made in haste, earnest, or... Henrietta looks up, her reddened eyes now wide with fear. Oh, you mustn't go looking into this, please, I beg you. Should my brother ask, please say I told you nothing. Why, dear child, you say your already heightened suspicions climbing further. Henrietta's voice drops to a whisper. He said he would hurt me, and he said he would do worse to my darling Sam. She grabs both of your hands so tightly it causes pain. And he would as well. You don't know what he's capable of. Oh, I did not think we were getting such a rough villain in this story, but here we are. Before you can tell the poor girl that you've already had a hint of the depths of them to which Cad can sink, she rises to her trembling feet. Please say you never saw me, Henrietta says in hushed tones before running from the room. You follow her at a distance so as not to draw attention and run headfirst into Lady Evelyn. Oh, and run headfirst into Lady Evelyn. You sigh in relief. What happened there? She asked, nodding toward Henrietta's fleeing form. Clearly your attempts not to draw attention failed to escape Lady Evelyn's perceptive gaze. No matter, for you need her help in getting to the bottom of this murky business. Lady Evelyn, we need to talk most urgently. She nods, her bright blue eyes searchlights, piercing the fog of haze of the evening's events. Of course, my dear, come with me. Okay, let's take a quick pause here for a second so I can drink some water. So we'll go back here. We'll just stop right here for a quick sec, okay? All right. So, wait, so we're just going to Scotland. Wait, what happened? Something happened. Oh, crap. Whoopsie. My bad. Okay. I don't understand how we ended up in Scotland. Does anybody understand this? Something seems wrong. Did we not? I'm so confused. This seems, let's see, back to 27. Back to 207. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that we were on the right page because that just seemed, she just said, come with me. And then we're on the road to Scotland. Okay. That seems better. I was like, how did we go from the ballroom to Scotland? We just clicked something wrong. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. Let's jump back into it. The ballroom is a vast channel of well-bred, well-dressed gallantry. What does this mean? Does anybody know what this means? Gallantry. In sing. Oh, in singular. In sing. A confused jumble or melody of things. Interesting. What a fun word. Gallantry. And Lady Evelyn sails through it with the earned ease of a veteran sailor. To me, you are a friend, Lady Evelyn says. That is why we are drinking the good brandy. Once you reach the end of the ballroom, far from the prying eyes of the ton, and yet farther from the still doubled-over cad, Lady Evelyn reveals a small flask. She has secreted in her reticule. She swigs deeply and hands it to you. Drink, she insists. You know how to follow orders and do so gladly. After taking a sip, you open your mouth to form a question. She passes an elegant finger over her lips to hush you before you can. Please, she says. Well, I would rather you not be so intimately acquainted with the skeletons knocking about my family's closet. It appears that we will stop at nothing to perform a dance macabre for you this very evening. A dance macabre done with 2 left feet, no less, you say. You both laugh conspiratorially, then right yourselves. Truly, Lady Evelyn continues, but I must say, I have never enjoyed Cad's antics. I have always dismissed him as a vibrant man on the fringes of proper society with misdirected energies, but his performance tonight has me concerned. Her lovely brow knits with worry. You too think there's something questionable with his claim, you press. I do, she answers slowly, but I'm vexed. As am I, you agree. Benedict is a vexation to me, but I see no reason he should be thrown out on the street due to the claims of a particularly theatrical half-brother. Do you believe there's merit to what Cad says? Lady Evelyn is silent for several moments. Finally, she says, Cad and Benedict's father never spoke much on the subject of his affair, or should I say marriage, with Mrs. Caddington, and all I knew for a long time was that there must be a scent of unpleasantness hanging around it like perfume gone stale. How so? You ask, eyes widening. Well, Ralph is the eldest. We don't know why, but that late baronet threw Mrs. Caddington aside for a while and married Benedict's mother, a most respectable woman. But then what? You ask impatient. But then, a few years after that, he returned to the intoxicating arms of Mrs. Caddington. He couldn't resist her for only so long. Little Henrietta is the result of that. But why did he leave her in the first place if they were married? Was there some secret scandal, something in her past that made him use his affection for a time, perhaps? Your mind reels. Nothing like that, I don't think, Lady Evelyn answers. She was already well known as an actress when they began their liaison. But other than her profession, she was by all accounts simply a respectable widow. Her first husband died long ago after a trip to the continent. Do you suspect foul play? Not to malign Miss Caddington, rest her soul, but could she have had her first husband taken care of in order to grant her a life's pleasure with the second? Your mind is so thoroughly enthralled with the intrigue that you do not realize the candor of your own tongue until too late. Oh, Lady Evelyn, Lady Evelyn looks at you with wonder and appreciation. No, apologies, dear. It is a thrill to watch a mind as clever as yours set itself to work. Still, I think it works in error. Mrs. Caddington was not known to be a malicious woman. She was clever, and fine as all, well, as loyal and dear. Still, she went to the continent, married, and returned a widow. Befuddled, you stare at the pattern of the brocade curtains decorating this end of the ballroom. The weave plays tricks on your eyes, and you think you see shapes that could truly not exist. Answers where they are only questions. It must have been a trial bringing the body back home for the funeral, you say with empathy. Lady Evelyn looks at you curiously. She did not bring back a body. It was too much trouble. So he was buried there, on the continent. A shame, you say, but a flutter of intrigue dances in your heart. Do you know where? She never, ever said. Stammers. She never, no one ever said. Stammers Lady Evelyn, a woman unaccustomed to stammering. Perhaps he wasn't buried at all. You hear yourself say excitedly, perhaps the late Mrs. Caddington's late first husband isn't late after all. Perhaps he didn't die on the continent. Perhaps. Your eyes flash, and Lady Evelyn's do too. Perhaps he merely disappeared. You are a cool and sharp and a wonder to behold. That's right, friends. Miss Veronica Speedwell is in this Bridgerton romance Regency period piece, even though she's in the Victorian era in that one. But who knows? No, I don't think we're the kind of people who shove things in their face. I'm kind of intrigued by all of this scandal with Mrs. Caddington, so I think we're going to go and continue down this path. My lady, you whisper urgently, I think I need your assistance. Laughter dances in the blue depths of Lady Evelyn's eyes. Anything for you, my dear, for you have me entirely intrigued. Good, you say, because I believe I am to get to the bottom of this little escapade. I will need to investigate. I see, says Lady Evelyn thoughtfully. And how may I help you in this endeavor? You seem to know something of this Miss Caddington's associates. I was wondering if you knew any personally. Lady Evelyn raises an elegant eyebrow. Well, I must confess that I do. However, as much as I admire your freewheeling, suspicion-following spirit, I am not entirely sure that visiting the person or their place of residence is a good idea for a sheltered young woman. Ooh, is this where we get to meet the third guy now, since we didn't meet him at the party? Oh, out with it, you cry, cheered by the company and the good brandy. I may be a reasonably respectable woman, but I have lived long enough to know something of the world. Admittedly, much of this bravado is the brandy. If she notices, Lady Evelyn does not let on. Instead, she throws her head back and laughs. My dear, you truly are a treasure, and I certainly admire your tenacity and determination. So you will assist me, you say. Lady Evelyn smiles warmly. Of course I will. If you wish to remain in England, I will always endeavour to assist you, especially if it can help poor Cousin Benny. Oh, Thank you, you exclaim, hugging her in the slightly tipsy delight. As Lady Evelyn embraces you warmly, however, a thought occurs to you. What do you mean, if I wish to remain in England? You ask. Ah, well, you see, my dear, I plan on taking a trip to Egypt, a somewhat of keen Egyptologist, and I have several dear friends in the country whom I made when my late husband was stationed there during the war. It is a long journey and possibly an arduous one. I was looking for a companion for the expedition, one with a sense of adventure, initiative, who might be able to handle the rigors of journeying to a strange land. You stare at her, astonished at what you think she's implying. So, my dear, what do you say? Would you like me to assist you in your adventures in London, or would you like to assist me in my adventures in Egypt? I think we have to stay in London, right? Like, this is a Bridgerton story. We're not running off to Egypt. We're staying in London. Have to. Lady Evelyn, you are too kind, but there is intrigue afoot, and I must get to the bottom of it. You say, after all, I do worry for Sir Granville Benedict. That is. Lady Evelyn raises an elegant brow again. Not that I like the man, of course, you say as a little too heatedly. I just feel sorry for him. She smiles warmly. Of course, my dear. And I must admit, I myself am curious. What is going on? I suggest that we make a journey to London tomorrow to interview one of the late Miss Caddington's associates. I further suggest we make it an early night in order to start our journey tomorrow as soon as possible. And with that, the two of you laugh, link arms, and make a quick exit. On your way, you see that the Dowager is dozing upon a settee, her head tilted back, snoring full blast. And we leave her ass there, too. The next day, you rise with the dawn. Lady Evelyn plans to leave a note for the Dowager, claiming that she is borrowing you for an urgent haberdashery mission. That is one of my favorite words. Haberdashery. So fun. If you've never used it before. I don't even know if I know. There it is. British small items used in sewing, buttons, zips, threads. So much fun. A haberdashery mission, but you are a little concerned that you might not have a job to return to at the end of all of this. Yet, if your investigations yield good news for the dragon's darling Benny, perhaps she can be swayed. In any case, you are willing to risk her wrath. Urgently, thrusting your scant belongings into a threadbare vassal, you wonder what exactly does one wear to a location not suitable for respectable young ladies. Everything seems depressingly, well, respectable. Creeping out of the room, your heart simultaneously leaps and falls when you realize you have run into him again. Sir Benedict, you say as politely as you can muster, you expect to see the customary curt nod you have grown used to, and perhaps somewhat fond of instead. Benedict's formerly haughty eyes are shadowed and haunted. He shakes his head ruefully. I believe my name is now Mr. Granville, or perhaps De Lacy, my mother's name. Surely you don't believe. Does it matter what I believe? What matters? What matters is what everyone else believes. What matters is that there's proof. And what matters most of all is that now Henrietta has prospects, has a future, and that has been denied to her all this time simply due to her birth. You are a good brother, you say, unable to conceal your surprise. He smiles at you wryly, causing your heart to skitter like a debutante's after too much champagne. Oh, sweet. She's the only decent one among us, She deserves better from her family, myself included. The one thing I'm thankful for in this sorry situation is that she has been given a chance at happiness. I rather think she has lost her chance at happiness, you counter. What the devil do you mean by that? As he glares at you, you square your shoulders and raise your chin. I mean that she loves someone who is now beneath her station, a young farmer who has been torn away from her by recent revelations. Don't be ridiculous. It's true. She told me herself, and I think she is only going with this sham of Cad's because she is frightened. Perhaps he threatened her. Benedict grabs your shoulders and leans so close you can see the sliver that can see the silver that edges those steel gray eyes. Didn't I tell you to leave this alone? Haven't you listened to a damn word I've said? Your heart may be racing, your flesh may be burning with desire at his touch, but you will not be intimidated. Instead, you narrow your eyes and hold your gaze. She doesn't want to be a fine lady married off to some stuffy aristocrat. She wants to be with the man she loves. Love only serves to ruin lives, in my experience. Look at my father. He loved Miss Carrington, and it broke my mother's heart when he returned to her. And now we must live with the consequences, the misery that has come about for his children as a result of his failure to regulate his emotions and his behavior. It doesn't have to be like that, you bite back. My parents loved each other. They were perfectly happy and true until the end of their days. And then they died, leaving their daughter penniless and without a friend in the world, he thunders. You gasp in outrage. The nerve of that man, the very nerve! Wait, there are two options. So this one says, if this will not stand and you want to have it out with him right now, turn to this page. If for now, turn to this page. Oh no, you insulted my mama and my father. So we are going to have it out now. We didn't have it out before. So let's have it out now. Right? Am I right? How dare you, you seethe. My parents were the kindest, dearest souls ever to have lived, and I will not hear a word spoken against them. You pompous, arrogant. They may have been exemplary individuals, but do not deny that your life is hardly suitable for a woman of your spirit. I do not go hungry, and my wants and needs are not extravagant. You square your shoulders, and neither are Henrietta's. She cares not for finery of titles, only that she is with the man she wants. Henrietta is a child. She doesn't know what she wants. How can you say that? She is 21, old enough to... Benedict does not let you finish. Instead, he looks at you in a way a drowning man would have raft. It is more than desire, more than longing that crosses his handsome face, yet his handsome yet haunted face. Sometimes we all want something we shouldn't, he says huskily, and then he kisses you with such an abandon that it takes your breath away. To your surprise, you find yourself succumbing to his passionate embrace. Your body is liquid gold as you melt into his. Nothing exists in this moment except you and him. Uh-oh. He is the one to break away first. Your arms are still intertwined as you stare at each other with equal parts horror and desire. You breathe heavily. He breathes heavily. Oh, dash it! I can't do both at the same time. I wish I was that talented. Oh, dash it! You both cry out and flee in opposite directions. You meet Lady Evelyn at the carriage outside. Are you quite all right, my dear? She asks as you rub your mouth. What? Oh, yes, quite all right. Lady Evelyn nods, but clearly does not believe you. Still, you are grateful when she trills brightly. Well, my dear, we'd best be on our way to London. After seating yourself in Lady Evelyn's elegant carriage, you rest your fevered brow against the cool glass of the window and curse yourself and your foolish loins for getting you into such a scrape. A scrape indeed. Ugh. I swear my jaw hurts. Off to London we shall go. The journey to London is long. Outside the carriage, the darkening sky is already filling with stars. You, however, are grateful that the ride has gone some way towards calming your frazzled nerves. By the time you are nearly there, you almost feel like yourself again. Lady Evelyn laughs. I cannot believe I'm heading all the way back to London, in secret, in my own carriage, with my aunt's companion. And a half-full flask of brandy, you interrupt. Don't forget that. How could I? The half that's missing is the half of the reason we're here. How much longer, Hugo? Lady Evelyn calls up to her driver. The rest of the evening, milady. Hugo answers in a booming but warm voice that somehow softens the edges of the clandestine adventure. Where in London are we headed, Lady Evelyn? You ask politely. Drury Lane? Not exactly, Lady Evelyn says. Suffice to say, I do find many other houses of ill repute more welcoming than Drury Lane. And since we are far gone now, I may as well fling the rest of the skeletons out of the closet and into the dance, as it were. Oh, you raise a limber brow. It is improper to say, Lady Evelyn titters, but I do know that after her scandalous affair with the late Sir Granville, Miss Caddington made many associates not precisely befitting a respectable woman. She was part of a fast set who knew they couldn't act as they wished in open, proper society, so they carved out their own sort of secret one. You speak as though you were a member of this society yourself, you say with a smile. I am a member of my own society, you devil, Lady Evelyn says, smiling in turn. You note the technicality. She hasn't said yes or no. Fine woman. Anyway, she continues, I do know that the company she kept still keeps its company. I think they are a better target for your inquiry, if you don't mind advice from the lady in the carriage. As it is your carriage, you reply, I welcome it. Let us go to this haven you speak of. Wherever so is it located? Must we wait till morning? Oh, no. Lady Evelyn falls into giggles. Where we are going is open around the clock. In fact, should we arrive them at 3:30 in the morning, we'll find it livelier than the same hour of the afternoon. Tell me, you beg. For a moment you are nothing more than two ladies on the ride of your lives. Where are we going? Lady Evelyn's smile is knowing and slow. Hugo, she calls to the driver, set course for the Rose and the Smoke. The Rose and the Smoke. I have to say, I didn't think we would be on a devilish mystery bound kind of adventure with this, but I am intrigued. Color me intrigued on this. And I don't know, again, I don't know how long this is going to be. So I guess I'll just keep reading and see how far we get. I don't know. Anyways, I'm here. I'm having a great time. I'm having fun. I hope anybody who watched this has fun too, because this is supposed to be a silly time and something I wanted to try. So, yeah. Hello. Oh, excuse me. Oh. All right, let's continue. You feel as though a devil's age has passed since you first fled the soiree at Mamberley and set out for London. You are rocked gently awake by the hubbub of the carriage, pulling into whatever street the Rose and the Smoke must be located on. While you slept, you dreamed of a handsome man and lovely women, snakes cutting a path through high grass, and a castle walls being held by great teams of faceless defenders working together to weave a pattern of protection. You also dreamed of Benedict's gaze burning into your own. The carriage hits its final lurch, and you wipe the dreams and Benedict from your eyes. Here we are, Lady Evelyn smiles, pats her hair into place, and exits the carriage with an expression of barely concealed glee. You expected this Rose of the Sun to be perhaps a secret dining hall by a well known restaurant, maybe a clandestine meeting space within a progressive dressmaker's boutique, a salon and a wine shop, even, but you never expected this. You never expected Gin Lane! You hear yourself, oh, softly, Gin Lane! You hear yourself shout. Lady Evelyn glares back at you. Gin Lane! You repeat, quieted this time, but no less shocked. You are not in Gin Lane. Lady Evelyn shoots a hoarse whisper like a huntress on an arrow. Gin Lane is one street over. You are in Harlot's Row. Your eyes widen. To call the street down at the heels would be an insult to heels everywhere. A strong breath exalted in pleasure can knock over most of the ramshackle structures, which makes it all the more wondrous that the symphony of sin being conducted all around you in houses of ill repute, and doorways of ill repute, and street corners of ill repute, and from what you can tell, at least one lamppost of ill repute does not topple the whole of Harlot's Row. But on the corner of the street of sin stands a structure as grand and handsome as you have ever seen in the better addresses of London. It drips with gold filigree that you are shocked to notice has not been chipped off and traded by the lowlier denizens of the street. It is the prize of Harlot's Row, Lady Evelyn whispers, as if in answer to your silent thoughts. It is sought after by the profanely refined, honored by the downtrodden and vice-working, and thoroughly reviled by the members of high society. When they are in attendance, you finish her. Oh, look, we've got a picture of Harlot's Row. Oh, how quaint. There's the row and the smoke. It doesn't look that bad. Look, scandal everywhere. Lady Evelyn smiles in reply. Welcome to the Rose and the Smoke, she says before turning her attention to her driver. Hugo, do tell Madame Crosby that I am here. Oh boy, another silky smooth voice. Hugo does not need to. Oh, apparently she's Southern, says a voice smooth as silk. Forgetting your sense of decorum, even on Harlot's Row, you take in the owner of the voice, a woman so timelessly handsome and disarmingly calm that she looks as though she's standing in front of Buckingham Palace instead of the House of Wantonness. News of your carriage travels well before you, Lady Evelyn. The silken voice continues. Madame Crosby! Lady Evelyn beams. It has been too long, Evelyn, Madame Crosby says, smiling and kind. You shiver. The night is a strange quality, one that you are no longer entirely certain of. Still you like it, you think. Lady Evelyn links her arms in yours. Together you ascend the staircase into the den of sin. And off we go. Okay. I will have a quick note here as we go to this. I did not read any of this beforehand, so if sometimes I get confused on whom is speaking or what tone I should be in, it's because of that. Because I'm just doing this a little ad hoc, a little funsies here. So just a quick note. I know I'm saying that very late in the game, but excuse me. I also just needed to use my regular voice for a second. Shall we continue? Into the Roses and the Smoke. Rebecca Caddington, one of my dearest friends. We found ourselves rejected by society, and therefore found support and companionship in each other, along with the group, of course. Madame Crosby says, sipping from a glass of fine champagne to punctuate the more elegant of her thoughts. The group, you ask, emboldened by your upteenth flute of bubbly. You can scarcely believe how finely appointed the rooms the Rose and the Smoke are, and in your half-waking state you fancy that the curtains and Defanis silken decor are in fact bewitching glamours cast on filth and trash by the lovely Madame's magical voice. The woman, Madame Crosby intones, and she beams her quiet smile your way, the ladies of the new female courtier, a group of self-selected cast-offs, strange makers who found their solace and their mettle tested with one another. Years ago, Miss Caddington was one of our liveliest members. She was the sharpest wits I've ever known. She could have done much better than that stuffed shirt she chose after her first husband lost his mind. The last sentence pulls your focus so tightly that you gasp for breath. You mean after he died? Lady Evelyn asked. Oh, that's right. Men die, don't they? Madame Crosby signals to a rather handsome manservant for another bottle of champagne. Whether he died or not, you said he lost his mind. A most curious sentence, you say. It isn't so curious when taken as point of fact, Madame Crosby drawls. You can't place her accent. Oh, look at that. She's not British. Can't place her accent. American, French, Nova Scotian? Lady Caddington's first husband was a renowned theater critic in his day. The flourish and the restraint she showed on the stage, he commanded on the page. It's how they met, you know. He had taken her to task on an off night when she was doing a version of Othello. He had written some line about a distracted performance. She had consulted us all on what she should do, and I initially thought it merely a blow to her vanity. But she turned to me and said, the way he phrased it, how he saw it, how he heard. So few have that sense. It is the language of the soul, and he thinks me a novice speaker. I suppose if one must love a man, one who is able to speak the language of the soul is acceptable. Of course, he wrote only favorable reviews of her from then on. What they say is true of language. If you do not use it, you lose it. Madame Crosby is a woman who knows when she holds another in her thrall, and she has the presence of mind to pretend ignorance to her considerable power. She also has quite the tolerance for alcohol. Your mind, however, is far adrift in a sea of champagne. You attempt to anchor yourself to the weight of her words. So you will say... You'll say... That was a cough, hiccup, I don't know. So you're saying... Whoop! You force out between hiccups. But the man first is still alive and well? Alive, certainly. Well, Madame Crosby downs her sparkling beverage as if it were water. How well can anyone be when they've spent the better part of their twilight years in Bedlam? Bedlam? You say, stunned. As you know, my dear, Bedlam is the vilest asylum in all of England. Madame Crosby says, regarding with a gaze of practiced calm laced with something like primal anger, which Miss Caddington knew full well when she sent to rot. Why the devil did she do that? You say. You reach for a finger sandwich from a tray of the handsome manservant produced a moment ago. You take a satisfying bite and relish the late-night pairing of watercress and intrigue. Why wouldn't she? Counters Madame Crosby. He could no longer give her good or even interesting reviews. He could not feed her ego or pay her bills. He could, however, be secreted away in a living death while she moved on to a wealthy nobleman to solve some of her other problems. You you can't mean Lord Granville, Benedict's father. Your eyes widen and you help yourself to just one more sandwich. I can and do. Madame Crosby responds, and her voice is edgier than before. For a moment, you see the whole history of this heartless Miss Caddington written on her face. Perhaps they were lovers, perhaps very close friends, but in any case, the lady Madame Crosby so admired had taken a turn for the very dark when she sent her first husband away. This means Cad's claim is invalid. Benedict's claim is safe. Cad is still a damnable bastard. I must tell them so at once, Madame Crosby. Thank you. Lady Evelyn, please. Let's away back to Kent. You grab one more watercress sandwich for the road and hurry to leave, but you run. What? Hold on. How did Benedict get there? Did he follow us? But we run smack dab into Benedict. Oh, now get on, get. All right. What is happening? Okay. Your slightly blurred vision does not lie. There's bursting through silken curtains, piercing the night as a member of would a sex. What? As a member would a sex. Piercing the night as a member. Oh. Huh? I don't know. Benedict breaks through the entrance of Madame Crosby's chambers. His handsome face is fully flushed with anger and exertion that hasn't a lick to do with the licks and exertions happening in the sumptuous, scandalous rooms that surround you. With his fine clothes, finer features, and tousled mop of aristocratic curls. I swear, that word, aristocratic curls. You can't help but imagine him as a passionate patron of the rose and the smoke. Perhaps it's the champagne, but you can almost see him rushing into Madame Crosby's chambers to request, no, beg, the opportunity to run spendthrift with his wild passions in her very boudoir, in front of you all, watching with you. Oh boy. He would tear his bosom asunder and urge your elegant trembling hands to explore his surprisingly thick pelt. Oh, he's got a hairy chest, does he? Before you both teach the finest whores in London a thing or two about making love. But the flesh and blood Benedict before you now speaks through gritted teeth. Damnable woman! He sees, displaying what you know is Benedict's version of screaming. Damn your eyes! Damn me later, Benedict! You cry. Listen now, your claim is to the Granville name is safe. Your father's marriage to Mrs. Caddington was the bigamous one, not his marriage to your mother. Cad is no heir, but a bastard, a damnable bastard. The Granville name, estate, and fortune are all yours. What we must needs do is acquire some hard proof that a bigamous husband is alive, perhaps from a warden of Bedlam, and all will be well. Here, have a snack. You look piqued. You toss him the watercress sandwich you were saving for later. He slaps it away as if it were a gnat rather than a valuable and tasty late-night delicacy. I would have eaten that, you say as you reach to retrieve the sandwich. He catches your wrist in a vice-like grip. You're a fool, Benedict says. He stamps upon the fallen morsel. Okay, well, that's a waste of sandwich. We really didn't have to throw it on the floor. I'm just saying. You told me nothing I didn't already know. But I do not understand. Of course you do not understand. How could you understand? For ages I have known these facts that you have so expertly detected while you drink and carouse with London's demi-monde. Did I say that right? I don't know. But you didn't tell me, you cry. Why did you not tell me? Tell you what, that my bastard half-brother used my half-sister as a hostage to steal my name and fortune, that to properly maintain or stake my claim on what is rightfully mine, I must subject Henrietta to her true, low-born fate, the fate of a love-child of bigamous marriage, with no fortune or station to save her, to add further insult to her injuries after having allowed her a taste of the life she will never know. Her fate is ruined because a chit like you plays detective and exposes our family's secrets in some sad attempt to feel important. With each word he speaks, you feel more dejected. With each angry phrase, you feel the bars of the cage that surround your own life, as well as Henrietta's, should this truth come out. Benedict, you whisper, I had only wanted to save you. What do I need saving for? Rich or poor, I am a man. It is Henrietta I am concerned for. You know, woman, he grinds out, any love light that may have danced in the corners of his any love light that may have danced in the corners of his cruel silver eyes is snuffed out with each word. You are extraordinary, he sneers. I have managed to keep myself out of scandal and the Rosensmoke my entire life before meeting you. Now I've managed to become mired in both, merely because someone of low station has mistaken a bit of my kindness and momentary desire as some grand form of intimacy. Benedict, anger and tears shine in your eyes. Save it. Tell it to my aunt next time you monogram her handkerchiefs. That's rude. Rude. Just rude. You feel your heart torn apart like a rejected proposal letter. There's nothing for you and Benedict to do now but turn on your heels in opposite directions at a safe distance. Wait, where are the other two? Did he just run in to this conversation and they're just having it out in front of Lady Evelyn and Madame, what's her name? Comfrey? Madame something otherwise? I don't know. Sorry if that's really loud. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. At a safe distance from his angry gaze, you rest against a wall and sob. Hateful man! And yet the thought of him thinking badly of you pierces your heart in a way you didn't think possible. How could this be? What is wrong with you? No, this is foolish. You shake your head and force yourself to think sensibly. Even lovers who aren't exactly full-fledged lovers quarrel. Wait, he's... Oh, what? You have come to Harlot's Row with the intention to help, and now all you do is hurt. Perhaps you have done enough. Perhaps Benedict's words are harsh reprimands of a man scared of his fortune and his feelings. So, our choices are that we cannot let things go with Benedict and end this way, at least not without having the last word, or we're entirely over all of this nonsense and ready to get the broad hell. I thought that was clever. Out of here. I think we cannot let this stand, Benedict. We've gotten too far. Sir. Oh, and we're back in the middle. You turn on your heel to give that insolent man one last piece of your mind, but instead you crash straight into the hot, hungry, well-dressed body. You blush. Oh, God. Sorry, I read ahead. Of course he would see reason. Wait, did he leave? Where did he go? So he just walked out. Okay. Great. You blush. Of course you would see reason. A smile spread across your lips as you look up into the handsome, welcoming face of Cad, you say incredulous. For there, in all his rakishly handsome glory, is Ralph Caddington. He has the good looks and cynicism of the world's finest dandy and the eyes of the world's hungriest wolf. He smirks, gives you ideas, which your other ideas must threaten with a stern talking to in order to keep them in line. Why, when the madam said to have a look around and choose the woman of my heart's desire, she really meant it. His voice is painfully luscious as a I almost read it like country, as a bite of a rich trifle. Luscious as a bite of rich trifle, and his hands run over you with as much relish as his gaze. Would this man get his hands off of me? Unhand me, sir. I'm not your plaything, just as the rightful Granvilles are not your playthings. You rest your breast. Oh, good Lord! You wrest your breast from his groping gloved fingers. I am merely in this house of ill repute to confirm that your repute is the illest of them all. It most certainly is, he growls, using his rock-hard thighs to trap you against a large Grecan urn inscribed. This man is going to get kneed again. You knee him hard. He gasps, but grips you tight about the shoulders. I take pleasure in pain, and I take what I want. Wealth, my name, you. This is rude. I guess we should have, maybe when this stream ends, I'll go ahead and put like a warning on here, because Cad is a Cad. His cry is savage, hungry, and cut short by a yank to his fashionably unkempt mane. So we're really not romancing. Like, he's not an option, correct? He can't be an option. I don't think so. Cat was not it. It was another guy whose house we didn't go to. Maybe that was like the third option. I don't know. Anyways, back to it. You will stop this instant, you leech. It is none other than Benedict. He cuts his eyes at Cat, then throws a tender gaze to you. Please forgive my cruelty, he whispers. I've been brutish to you because I am brutish to myself. I didn't think I would need to worry about love or desire, and you have swept into my life like a wildfire, making me suddenly concerned for your safety, the things I took for granted, the safety of my solitude, the safety of the way things are. I see now that there is nothing safe in being so miserably unhappy that I am willing to let my life be colorless and cold without you. Ooh, tell me more. Oh, we get a picture. Is the candlestick and the platter? Oh, all the sandwiches. These people just keep wasting watercress sandwiches, let me tell you. 1,000 emotions and desires cross your mind at once, and you struggle to come up with a quip that could express them all. Oh, darling, let me save you the trouble, Benedict says, and he drops Cad long enough to draw your face into his and bury your mouth in a kiss that would be everlasting. If Cad didn't interrupt it by tackling him. Damn my eyes! The mighty son of Lord and Lady Granville, heir to everything he has never earned. Oh. Ha ha ha. That's Cad. My bad. Damn my eyes. Sorry. He yells, the mighty son of Lord and Lady Granville, heir to everything he has never earned, kissing a common maid in a whorehouse like a bastard he truly is. Cad's eyes and voice are charged with jealousy. Oh, come now, Benedict says, deflecting Cad's next punch and throwing his own. You've done worse in whorehouses. You dare mock me? I'm sorry. Cad launches a Fulisade? Tell me, is a series of shots fired or missiles thrown all at the same time in quick succession? Fun. New word. Of watercress sandwiches at Benedict before clocking him with a fine silver tray they were laid upon. Please. Benedict sneers, breaking a candle from its elegant pewter, taper to use as a death baton. I mock everyone. Your name, your fortune, your station, your love. Cad manages to sneer at Benedict and spit on you at the same time. Will do no good where you're going, man. No one's life is respected, noble or no, when it's over. Cad raises the sandwich tray high above him, murder in his eyes, emptiness in his heart, watercress sandwiches on the floor. Cad, no! You scream. Slattern, yes, he screams back. Can Cad be reasoned with? If so, turn to this page. Or if he is nothing but a lecherous weasel who needs to be taken down immediately in a violent as manner possible, if so, turn to this page. I mean, yes to number 2, but does that mean we're going to end up in prison? Worth it. Let's go. That it does. You grab the nearest erotically shaped lamp and smash Cad over his hot, handsome head with it. Down he goes like and unlike so many before him in the rose and the smoke. And don't you ever lay a hand upon him again. You spit at his inert frame. Turning, you see Benedict staring at you with eyes aflame. Benedict? Oh, more like Benedict. You damnable. He stands shakingly, maddening. He takes your face in his hands and stares deeply into your eyes. Wonderful woman. And with that, he kisses you so intensely it takes your breath away. You melt into his arms. The world could end at this moment and neither of you would notice. Until that is, you feel a gentle tap on your shoulder because these people have been here the whole damned time and we just didn't talk about them for like a hot minute. Lady Eveline says gently, think it might be best if you make a quiet exit. We really don't want to draw attention to ourselves. As one, your eyes travels from the broken furniture to the broken man to the dozens of crushed watercress sandwiches that litter the room. So sad. So many nice tea sandwiches we had to lose. You might be right, Vange, Benedict admits. Of course I am, Benny, she says briskly. I suggest the two of you journey back in the coach as soon as possible before anyone notices you are missing. And what will you do? You ask. I am going to clean up this mess, says Lady Evangeline. Don't worry, I've done this before. I wish I could say I was surprised, says Benedict as he ushers you out the door. Ooh, we get a carriage ride together all by ourselves. There is nothing like a carriage ride back at the country estate that is in dispute between two men, of one whom you just nearly killed, and the other whom just passionately kissed you. Oh, I'm in the same carriage with the two of them. Oh, bother. For the frazzles one's already frayed nerves. You didn't know when you attended the first ball with the dragon that the story of your life would be so full of scandal, intrigue, and deadly lamps in the shape of certain body parts. You never could have dreamed that the story of you and Benedict would overflow so violently like an upended jar of ink over a fresh sheet of creamy white paper. Benedict seems as tense as you are. He must take your weary silence and aching desire for anxiety. Dash it, woman. You didn't kill him. Give yourself a rest. Benedict shifts uncomfortably in his seat. I nearly killed him. Sorry. 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 You what? How does his voice? Dash it, woman. Sorry. I don't know. It's hard to say. It just keeps sounding like I'm Canadian. You didn't finish the job. I am sorry for the mess we made in Madame Crosberry's fine rooms. Her fine rooms have seen much worse, I'm sure, Benedict says with a sigh. And much better. You're content to have the last word with him, but troubled by your longing for a smart, tender mouth to once more press against yours. You wonder if he, too, is thinking of that moment back in the fray. You notice him struggle to find a comfortable position. You long to touch him and reprimand him for not arriving at the obvious best solution to his problem. You do know if we simply remove this bench cover and arrange it thusly, we both have a lie down in this blasted carriage. You brush him aside and rearrange the seating so the carriage becomes more of a traveling bed than a torture chamber on wheels. But before thinking much of it, you've flung the man onto his back and yourself on top of him. Oh, well, okay. Let me just browse through this before I read aloud. Okie dokes. You feel a sudden heat and pressure against your skirts and realize your newfound seating arrangement is not lost on him. Not lost at all. You retrieve the cushion and place it under his head. He arches to receive it, and by doing so presses his member, if you will, against your beskirted. Why do we keep saying that? We just don't want to say the word that we're trying to say? I guess. You cannot help but can't help moaning slightly with the pleasure of it. Is that better? You try to keep your voice as even and rhythmic as he keeps the powerful yet restrained. You can read that for yourself. I don't know if I should read that on YouTube, so we're not. Much, he replies, before the terse word escapes his lips. They are upon you. Your mouth, ears, neck are the skin of a forbidden fruit he is desperate to taste. We may have to end this early, folks. I don't know. Are we going to fade to black? Just want to know before I read this aloud on the internet. This is wrong, he whispers into your décolletage. His fingers work swiftly against the common enemy that is your bodice, and soon all of you... Oh, okay. All of you is just tumbling. I'm going to paraphrase some of this for y'all now. Should we? You whisper into the knit of his brow before running your fingers through his thick, tumble-down curls and pulling his face into your newly freed bosom. I do love how those things are written, he answers before breaking free. You know damned well I can't respond. With your amazing ladies in my mouth. Okay, how far are we going with this? Did you think it was not intentional? So we lose ourselves to some foreplay here. So I'm just going to let y'all read that on your own. Okay, it looks like we are, in fact, fading to black here. A bird on a wing overhead would think nothing of your carriage. A small rollicking shadow in a wide world of trees. I thought, did we not have the brother in here? I'm confused now. That's fine. It would be the happiest of animals who found their mate, a joy made even sweeter by the bitter knowledge that the mate could be lost and likely would be in the bright light of the morn. Oh yes, there still is the whole issue that we are of lowly birth. And we've now defiled our honor. You enter the greatest state of manbully, solemn and bold. Girl, what? You must be ready your mind for a future so undesirable, so colorless, that to dwell on it, reality, would only be a disservice to the wonderful dream you just had the opportunity of living. You resolve, at the very least, either to flee the dragon's employ for someone less detestable, or to ratchet up your kindness toward her so that you may see Benedict as often as possible. You look over to catch him, burning a look of love into your eyes. Your breeches are still unbuttoned, my love, you whisper solemnly and watch his face right with panic as he attempts to right his wrong. When he realizes you've bested him and his buttons are in fact entirely in order, you snicker. Made you look, you whisper, hoping he has not heard your voice or heartbreak. You take a look, one last breath of happiness before entering the mansion, only to be greeted by an extended shriek from the dragon, who extends it exits the estate in angry and agitated hurry. Scandal! The dragon cries. Scandal and shame! Her dancing beady eyes light on Benedict's fine, gently walking frame. Where have you been, Benedict? Henrietta, she is gone. She has run off with a farmer. She breaks into a fit of pitiful wails. Now, here, what is this all about? Benedict asks, a man in command once more, a king returning to his kingdom. You look about you and witness a mad scene, service in confusion, furniture upended, and no sign of Cat or Henrietta anywhere. There, looking serene and beautiful as ever amidst the madness, is Lady Evelyn. How did she beat us? We took the long way around that carriage, apparently. Lady Evelyn reclining on the settee with a cordial in hand and a smile as wide as the great moors. Thank you, Benedict. He answered my question. How the devil did she beat us here from London? Benedict whispers to you, his voice husky with postcoital satisfaction. Women have their ways. You respond in awe of everything, turning to Lady Evelyn. You say, What news with you, my lady? It seems a great happenings happened while we were away. It has indeed. Lady Evelyn responds calmly. It appears someone, certainly not me, sent hard proof of the living existence of one Mr. Caddington, signed by a warden of Bedlam to all the papers of London. Cad disappeared, as did his claims on Granville's name and fortune, as quickly as said papers were published. Oh, and Henrietta has eloped with her farmer. Do you have the time, dear cousin? Benedict, his beautiful face broken into a full grin, glances at the timepiece on the mantel. It appears that it is 1 o'clock. Yes. Lady Evelyn smiles. Henrietta and Farmer Sam should be making excellent strides to Greta Green by now. Greta Green? To elope? Oh, I shall faint! The dragon has reappeared, if only to feign fainting dramatically. Please hold your faint, aunt, for a moment, Benedict says. Then, still grinning, he takes your face in his hand. Cousin. Yes, Benny, Lady Evelyn says. You beam. Joy is contagious. Can you see about publishing the banns? I would like to make this young woman my wife as soon as possible, if she'll have me. You gaze at the man that you love, the man you fiercely bedded in the carriage. There will be many carriage rides in your future. She will, you say, smiling. I suppose. Certainly you need someone to help keep you on your toes. Benedict chuckles. She supposes. It is settled, then. We are to be married. He shouts. Oh, he shouts. His voice a waltz of joy. You have danced before. No, cries the dragon. Scandal, shame, scandal and shame. Scandal and shame indeed, auntie darling, you whisper practically into Benedict's mouth. Scandal and shame indeed, he says, laughing, and you drown out the rest of your laughter by kissing and kissing and kissing to the tune of the household happy cheers and the dragon's pitiful cries of disgust. And we did it. The end. We finished. We're going to stop sharing our screen. And we did that in under 2 hours. Anywho. But, yeah. I don't know. That was fun. I'll definitely want to do that again. Maybe we can try going for... Maybe I can work on my Scottish accent and we can go for the scrumptious little Scottish man. Someday. But, thanks so much for watching. I guess this will be recorded, so if you couldn't make it, you can check it out. And if you're looking for more fun stuff, come and hang out with me. It'd be great. All right. Bye. I don't know how to end this. We just ended it. I don't know. That's fine. Just hang out here. But this was fun, either way. Anywho, I'm going to go probably eat dinner. So I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. And I hope that I didn't break my algorithm and do anything untoward when it comes to reading this. It didn't get too spicy, just a little bit. I just try to keep it. You just trying to keep it a little bit PC here. You know what I mean? So hopefully I won't get yelled at by the algorithm, by the overlords. We'll see. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.